and meet and come at the Georgians Campus.
Klasokamatia mateo, klasokamatia tatonatiu, klasokamati tonansing klali, klasokamati abuelitos y abuelitas, and all the ones that came before, and all the little ones to come. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I'm tired of seeing my elders feel like they're imposters. They are not imposters on their own homeland, and to have had generations of imposter syndrome, we now legitimately need restorative justice. Restorative justice does look like providing property back, land asset development back, and any form of safe spaces where we have been choked out and flushed out of our homelands, starting with the Cheyenne, the Ute, the Arapaho, the Kiowa, the LAKOTA, and 48 tribes that we still document, work with, and know are still mixed indigenous here in Colorado.
I've lived in Colorado off and on since 1955, and I went away for a while, came back and realized that so much had changed in the time that I was gone. I couldn't find anywhere to live for me and the 4 children that I brought back with me. And so that's when I think my journey started. I didn't understand why there wasn't housing. I couldn't understand what happened to the people of color that had lived here. And so it was pretty confusing, for me. Because by the time I moved away, came back, and I had started walking the Red Road, and it was difficult to find people in Fort Collins that I could talk to, that I could do ceremony with, that I could share issues with about our children.
A lot of the land we have within these institutions is really land that was stolen back in the 1800s. It's usually lent to us for a certain amount of time, and as we grow within a better understanding of how to use the land and take care of it, it usually is taken back. Every time that happens, we end up losing more ground. So what we want is to continue to use the land that is set aside for places like CSU or different areas of the colleges and universities, so we can continue to develop that land in the traditional way and use our traditional teachings to help our children to continue our own ways of culture and traditions.
20 years ago, I did a blessing of the Commons building, which houses the Native American Student Center. One of the blessings that I did, or the blessing for the new construction of the building itself, was a trade-off that when the lease or the property becomes open, that it would be returned back to the Native American population and also utilized by the Native students for places of worship, places to sit and heal. But also, we took it a step further that this land would also be utilized and protected because there are archaeological sites which are located on the property which is in question. And that these areas would always be protected, and with the work with the Native American community, along with the institution of Colorado State University, that perhaps placards would be made to educate the people in order to protect, preserve, and utilize this land. But most importantly, that this land would not be developed, but will also be utilized by the general public as open space. At the time, and the Board of Regents agreed to that way it's not exclusively used by the Native American population, but by all people. But also to remember that the Native American tribes who came through here, approximately 29 Native tribes of the Plains region, also came through here and utilized those lands for the same reason, to camp, enjoy, and to provide for the Native American families and to watch their children grow and have fun. And that's the same thing that we hope to do, that CSU would be willing to do that.
Fort Collins is a key space to be able to provide real restorative justice. When we teach educational programs that we're trying to teach quilling or beading or just provide a safe space for trauma sensitivity, we don't have any properties to do that in Colorado. And if we really want to call Colorado for its integrity that it is, Colorado is no English name. It literally means the integrity of the land, meaning muddy red. And if we're going to be true to Colorado history, that means that we have never acknowledged the treaties. We still do not acknowledge the tribal affiliations that should be here, but now are pushed to Wyoming and Oklahoma. And we need to have restorative justice efforts to reclaim, rename, and land back development, or these populations will be choked out. We cannot go back to what things were. We'll never be able to go back to the way things were. But reimagining the way that we can have justice now does count. If you're really going to be any form of an educational institution, be a transformative one.